They like being in somebody else's account. Hey, this is DJ Strick, and man, as you could tell, I got her out to do some other stuff, so making some content inside of the group. I'm so happy to have Miss Diana with me today. How are you doing, ma'am?
I am doing fantastic. Wonderful to be here, brother. How are you?
I am doing just fine as well, and I want to thank everybody that has that's coming on with us. I made a mistake. I was in a different time zone and actually put in the wrong number, so it looks like we were supposed to be on at 5. It's 6 p.m. Central Standard Time every Sunday night. Or the Sunday nights that I have booked, of course. Well, we're doing the stream show. So thank you for hanging in there with us. If you're seeing this in a replay, just let me know where you're watching from. I really do appreciate it. And I have Miss Diana Gladney here with us. And she's an old school Ecamm. Old school, let's get
Oh
live,
no,
and
not
all
old
the other
school.
old school, like you've been around for a long time, and one of the
Man,
leaders in the content creator world that is pushing the envelope for all of us. And it is so good that you would definitely take the time to come hang out with me on a Sunday night. And I really want to get down to it. We were talking offline, and I kept telling you, we got to stop, we got to stop, we got to stop. And every time I have a subject, I got stopped on your responses because you just have the coolest way of responding to what's going on. And I want to thank you for doing that for all of us. That being said, I want to jump into like the most controversial thing first.
okay.
These Sony cameras, like your team Sony, like your team
Yeah.
Sony with all capital letters. Like I know there's a new camera that's coming out, the A
Mhm.
6700, right?
Yep.
And you
Just
did a
coming out.
live stream on it. Like what's going on with you and Sony cameras? Let's just start there.
As you all know, I used to rock with Canon back in the day.
Yes,
We
we
got
do
we
know
got
that. And
we got
everybody,
divorced.
oh, let's talk. I had to talk about the M50, right?
Yep, the
Everybody's saying, "Hey,
M50.
use the M50." I get it.
Yep.
I get it.
It used to be the thing, but we got divorced. Okay. It was some infidelity in the lineup because you sign up for certain things and then them certain things don't come. I got to go. Okay, I got somewhere to be. So
I get it. I get it.
so no, but I still do love a lot of what Canon is doing. It's just not right for me. I switched over to Sony in 2019 and really found a home with Sony cameras, and so I've stuck there. And so recently, like a couple days ago, the A6700, which is an APS-C camera, just came out. But it's a little too late because I already picked up the Sony ZV-E one, the white chocolate edition, Storm
Wow.
edition. So that's a full frame camera.
Hold on. Pull
But
that back up again. And what is that? What is
yeah,
that now?
this is the Sony ZV-E one. It's a full frame camera that they release. Has the same sensor of the Sony A7S Mark III, the cinema line cameras. So I got the Storm White Chocolate Edition. So it's it's like it has that Netflix approved sensor in there. So if your skills can hold it, the camera can create it
She
for
is
the most
too
part.
cool for school. Okay, guys, let me do this. While I was getting everything together, there were people that were chiming in that I hadn't got to. Mr. Camera Junkie, how are you doing, sir? Dan, yes, I know, Dan, that you were waiting over an hour. Like, it is completely my fault. Blame DJ Strick for that, okay? But thank you for hanging on in there. And my man Monty is here with us tonight. So thank you,
Hey,
sir. And he says he's Team Sony too, in all caps.
there you go, all
Man,
caps. I
we
mean,
there's Tech
trying to get people to live
Troublemaker.
trying to get people to
Uh,
live trying to get people to live right out here in these real and digital streets, Strick. This team Sony.
oh my gosh. Okay. Thank you, Dan. At least he has to be different a little bit. He's Team BlackBerry. He's going back. He's going back to the BlackBerry. That's funny.
Ah,
Well, I understand, like, even watching some of your live stream, I understand where you are with Sony. And of
mm,
course, I'm a Sony guy as well. I kind of like secretly started using some of their cameras, and I do get what the new cameras will add. I mean, there's just so many options depending on what you're using them for.
yeah. Yeah.
I
I
really go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that that whole mix of what do you use, what do you buy, especially because there's always something coming out. It's very easy. You just have to make your list of non-negotiables. What are the must-have features that a camera must have in order for it to work for you? And we always have to make some kind of concession because of what is available on the market, and then obviously matching that up with how much you're willing to invest
Right,
to get that, get that list. But the non-negotiables, it's like regardless the camera must have these things. And
right.
when you look at stuff like the new AI technology of it tracking you and it following you around and it reframing in the center and a bunch of other crazy nerdy stuff that's amazing that actually works, I'm like, yeah, I'll take that because I'm looking at how much time, me and my editor spend, how much that team expenditure cost is for us
Gotcha.
to fix mistakes and stuff in the background or just to make certain things. So, that list of non-negotiables is like, yeah, this is what it must have. But now what's gonna on top of that, then the next thing is to buy is like efficiency. What's gonna save us on our money for the business, what's gonna save us on the time that we invest, which is still gonna account for money as well. And it just becomes an easier decision of what to pay attention to and what to ignore if you at least have those two lists. That's what always makes it easy for me.
I get it, and I do like saying for live streamers or for the Ecamm fam, for someone that's going to put their camera up in front of them, do talking heads like this or tutorials or interview style. If you're going to have your camera sitting and it's connected to your computer. You're using a M1, whatever it is, or M2 now with
Yeah.
Ecamm. You're never going to move that camera. It is not your run and gun camera. It's
Yep.
not your camera where you're going to be, doing films with. You're not going to be using that camera for clients. You want to sit it up. And to be honest, I'm saying this because, we've taught people in the past, like I know Doc, hey, get you a streaming computer. Hey, get you the M1 that streams and just dedicate that one piece of equipment for streaming so you
Yep.
don't have any problems with that. You don't want to add any other kind of applications or anything. So now you also have that one camera. What do you suggest, Diana,
Uh,
if that
uh,
person just puts it up on, right in front of them, they're not moving it?
yeah. I mean, you can honestly go back as far as like and I mean just when I got the ZVE one. So that's what a month ago, a little bit more than a month ago. The Sony A6400 because it has the face detection, autofocus, it has 4K, and you can do all that stuff via HDMI. And that camera is sat recessed into the closet like this one is now. It is the ZVE 10 that's sitting there. And that has eye autofocus. But I mean, we're not moving, we're not dancing, we're not doing anything other than just sitting here. So I've done plenty of videos with that one. A6400 is sufficient. The only difference is that sounds good out loud and on paper. And I know good and daggone well, most people won't do that. They're going to want to take that tripod off, or they're not going to have, or not even have, they're not going to want to invest that other money for another dedicated camera to do other things. So that's why it's like it has to fit both of the parameters, unless you're willing to invest in two cameras, which most people aren't because they haven't quantified the expended expense in their mind of why
Gotcha.
it makes sense. So they'll get the cheapest thing of whatever can do it, and then they'll be mad and send in emails like we have to answer every week. How come my camera came? Because you didn't listen to instructions.
Right, right,
Okay,
right, right.
stand in timeout because you didn't listen to instructions.
I get it. I get it. So, and you make a great point. I haven't thought about, someone that wants a camera that does it all. Like, what is the do it all camera that could stream, but also you can take it off the tripod and run and gun, or you can put it on a tripod and actually shoot some film or do some client work, and it could work for you that way. That opens a large window of options
Yeah.
for somebody, and I guess Sony would have those cameras, whether it's APS-C
hmm
cameras options that you have now. What is that? The 30
FX30.
FX30?
Yep. So
That
that's
is
that cinema line
the
cameras.
cinema line camera. That's
Yep.
APS-C.
Yep. And so it's again, it's the list of non-negotiable. I try not to give any blanket statements of get this X, Y, and Z. A good starter camera is always going to be, especially if you compare it to A6400 camera, is going to be the ZVE10. It's more creator centric, more video centric, has the fully articulating screen, so it flips out to the side and turns around like most people want. You have the eye autofocus, product showcase mode, 4K. The sensor is not that great in the sense of if you're doing a bunch of motion stuff, but you can get by it because you have access to the program called Sony Catalyst Browse that will give you gimbal-like stabilization. So it's doable. It's not ideal in every scenario, but it is a very strong entry level camera for
Hmm.
a lot of people that are doing a bunch of video centric stuff. Most of my videos in the past 1 to 2 years were on the ZVE10 specifically, and I got so much joy out of using that camera. If you want to move up from there, would be something like the A6700 or the FX30 that recently came out. And those, again, more video centric. Obviously, the A6700 is better in the sense that compared to the ZV10, because you have all of the AI stuff, the more recent things, faster autofocus. You have some of the um, just the different AI tools of the camera being able to predict where you're going and what you're doing so that it never misses.
Right.
And I think those are the things that are extremely important for creators. People will say, I don't need all that. You don't know what you don't need because you're used to wasting your own time most of the time. You accept.
Doing it the manual
Yeah.
way when the
Yeah.
camera now can help you. And I never
Yes.
thought about the AI part. Like I know this is completely new, but I just I missed a little bit of that. So basically, you can now go and have a wider shot and move within that shot, and that camera is going to keep you centered.
Right. And it can keep you center and it can follow around with you. And so I used this when I recently did a talk in Spokane, Washington a couple weeks ago. And so I set the camera up on the table because part of my talk was actually walking them through. Because with that particular audience, they don't actively create. They take all the notes, pay a high dollar ticket to be in the room, and then be like, oh, that's good information. I think I'm going to think about that. Get off your behind, get your phone. And we actually created content throughout that thing. And so
I
that
love
was
that.
yeah, so part of the whole talk was like, yes, we're going to teach some, but you're going to learn and do and put this learn and do philosophy to work, which is whatever you learn, go and execute on it. And so I put my camera up, the new ZV E1, because it has that AI tracking. And instead of me asking somebody to follow the camera with me to track my movements, the camera is doing it. So that's time my editor doesn't have to do that in the backup time. That's somebody I don't have to ask to come out to the event with me to do that, or take somebody away from doing something else, whether it be a friend or whatever, to try to
Right.
follow you. So it's like we cut down on so many different things in addition to which the A6700 that just came out doesn't have this, but the ZVE1 does. And that is that dynamic active stabilization, truly gimbal like stabilization. I'm
Wow.
probably one of the shakiest handheld vloggers that there is, and I'm like, I'm not going to baby you. I'm not going to do nothing to make it easy for you. And I just want to see how well you can keep up. I was shocked. Absolutely shocked at the footage that I was looking back. So again, that's time we don't have to spend in Catalyst Browse, the
Right.
tool by Sony, to fix stuff. So we're already cranking out content so much faster because we don't have to do the extra steps. And whatever I would willing to be willing to invest up front with the camera, I'm looking at how many thousands of dollars and how much many minutes that turn into hours that we're going to be saved over the course of the next 6 months to a year, and that's already proof positive for what we're investing. So, like I said, past meeting your needs, now we look into efficiency's sake, past the
Hmm.
list of non-negotiables. So that's why I stick with Sony because they stay on the cutting edge of stuff like that. And I know some people are like, well, what about Panasonic and what about Fuji? And may the Lord bless you and keep you always with them brands. But when I turn my head sideways and Fuji say, I don't even know if that's a person anymore. Where did she go? And she
Wow.
focused on John Coltrane back there. I don't have time to play them reindeer games. We're not doing that. I'm not
I
doing that.
love it. I love it. You grew up in St. Louis, right?
Sure did.
Main streets of St. Louis. It comes out of Miss Diana every now and again when she's talking about content creation, and I absolutely love it. She's here to help us. And yes, we went down the road of talking about Sony cameras because we love talking about cameras. And Miss Diana has just did a video on the new Sony camera that came out, and there's tons out there, guys. Do your research. Go check out her video on what she just did, and be prepared because we talked offline, and I think she's getting ready to do another video, right?
Yep. Got another
There
one
you
coming.
go. There you go. So, Aubrey, thanks for hanging out with us. And Dan is right. Dan, you are so right. They can make great cameras, but you know, the washer and dryers, it is what it is. I wouldn't buy a washer and dryer from them. Okay. Now, you want to be careful. You want to be careful with that. That being said, I always, we have so much to talk about. Miss Diana, I met you online. All right. So you didn't meet me. I met you online when you were talking about how to set up your cameras, whether you should use a capture card or a USB card. And you were using the Canon M50 at the time, and you were showing
Mhm,
people the difference. And you were
mhm,
trying to help people understand 2, 3 years ago, this video was made of how simple it could be to connect your camera to your computer to have the best video or to have a video because you were trying to explain how easy it could be with or without a capture card.
yep,
And that's how I was introduced to you. And I watched your stuff for years now, ever since then, being a part of the Let's Get Live community and all the stuff you've done, even with the 12 o'clock noon when you would go live and you would play
yep.
games and all that kind of stuff. Was that Fridays, right? Your
The
Friday,
Friday
Friday.
live helpcast. Yep.
Tell me, when you decided you were working at the bank and you decided I really would like to be a full-time creator, tell me that part of your story. Like, how did you get up the nerves in your content creating business to
Mm.
quit your job?
Ooh, okay. So, um, man, talk about the nerve. It does take a lot of courage, and I think courage is best found in fear. And so, if I go back to the moments that I was most fearful, it would have to be when I first woke up from surgery. And I've talked about this before. I definitely share this in the book that I know we're going to talk about later. But found out that I was just having incredible pain. 16 months worst pain in my life. Never felt anything worse. Um, at the time. And so I came finally going doctor after doctor. And I was at the point I was just at my wits. And so my friend convinced me to go to see this last doctor. And I went and wound up having to have emergency surgery because finally somebody figured out what the heck was wrong. After that emergency surgery, woke up to find that this surgeon had to go stop another doctor in the middle of his surgery to come in and help him on some other issues that I was having. And it would turn out that I would have stage 4 endometriosis, which, if you look that word up, if you just type it even wrong in Google, it'll start coming out with what it actually is. But it's not something, unfortunately, according to the doctors, you can get rid of. But so I woke up with this thought in my mind, like everything's going to be fine. Instead, I wake up to them waving papers in my face, saying like you almost died, not like you
Wow.
could have, but that you almost. And so it's a very different world between almost and could have.
Right.
So uh, I wasn't the same after that. I'm not gonna lie, that shook me for real because I'm thinking, you got a headache, take some medicine. Headache
Right.
over. You know, your knee hurt, take some medicine. Knee pain over. You get used to that in your younger years, even whatever age you are. The younger years, you bounce back. So that's what I was expecting.
Right.
Little beknownst to me, it wouldn't be the thing, and this endometriosis would be a challenge that I deal with for foreseeable future. So when I went back to work, which was too early, even after a month of being out completely, I still wasn't healed. I still had stitches and I still couldn't walk right. And so I had to go sit back in the cubicle after this entire experience. From that point, I had decided I'm not going to wait until the eventually or the one day or any of that other stuff because the one day was almost gone. The
Mm.
possibilities disappeared, whether I wanted them to or not. And so I had to look at what could be said of my life. I made great peach cobblers, cracked some jokes, I was a good auntie or sister or whatever, but I had done nothing. I had nothing to show for my life of like me even being here. So that started me on a Google search on the bank's dime and my own outside of working
Wow.
hours, where I work and just will get super efficient at work, as I always love to do is be efficient. But I'm like, okay, how can I figure out why I'm here? I got a second chance at life, but for what? To
Okay.
do what? So when it came to like me starting a business, Then it got to the point of me hiring a coach. My coach said you needed to make videos, and I'm thinking this dude don't know nothing about me. Clearly, he don't know these are the same 7 photos recycled on Facebook for a profile picture. It never gets I don't even think it's updated right now. So
That's funny.
so and so I'm like, this dude don't know nothing about me. But I learned that I didn't hire him for me to remain the same. And it was because of his push that I just agreed to start taking those daily progressive steps to doing video and learning video, uncovered a whole new passion and purpose in my life. And to answer the question, long story still being long, um, I can say I got the courage to do any of this stuff outside of work at the time, because what else was there going to be if it was between death and a job that was soul sucking anyway? Why not do something that would be life giving? And so it was a very easy decision at that point, and it wasn't, as scary. You still have concerns, but it's not scary compared to what life could have been.
But you did have to decide to do the work, put in the work to get the content creating business to the place where you could walk out. Talk
Yeah.
about that a little bit.
Well, in full transparency, I still didn't. I was doing all the stuff, reading the books, paying for courses, letting bills and lights and all the stuff, because I've never paid for cable. I've always been one of the cord cutter people, and so I didn't have cable or nothing like that to begin with. But I'm like, okay, well, that means no snacks at the vending machines anymore. That means no more fast food. And I was stuck in the payday loan game at the time that I was getting started and all this stuff. So I'm like, I didn't have the money, so I had to make it come from someplace. So I
Gotcha.
let bills and stuff get cut off. The lights would get cut off. I let stuff be late. I had payday loans that would be enough that would pay for a course for me to get in, so I could learn what I needed to do. And
Wow.
so I'd like call my mom and dad and be like, "Hey, can I come over there and have dinner? Because I don't have no food. I don't have no money for no food." It was obviously never an issue, but I'm like, okay, this is what I'm doing for the next 30 days. And then this is what, and I'm paying a coach, mind you, in the midst of all of this. So
Wow.
barely having enough to pay my phone bill and stuff. So, and it just was real gutter for a while. But I'm like, this is temporary, with the intent of where I'm going and what I'm doing. Got myself out of the payday loan game, got myself back better, because any gifts that I was learning, skills and all that stuff, I was putting it towards the job too, so I could
That's
make as
good.
much money as possible there. Because I just figure I'm not the one of those people that's just like F your job kind of a stuff. My thing is, bless the job that's been blessing you for
Right.
as long as you're gonna be there. Until it got to the point to where life is still not that great 2 something years later, and I'm like, "Well, where am I going? What am I doing? Why am I continuing to push to climb this ladder that's kinda going nowhere?" I was looking at where the bank was going, it wasn't looking great, and, things were just going bad at the bank for the company as a whole. And so I'm like, well, I can't keep doing this because I feel like I'm dying here as it is. It just is so, so sucking. Like, I cannot do it. Every day I'll be praying on my way to work, but it was mostly just arguments and yelling at God. Like, I'm so sick of this.
Wow.
Like, you brought me back for this. Like, the brother, you could have let me go if this is
Wow.
all it was going to be. And that was just like the real daily grind of what life was at the moment. But point to where I quit my job, my supervisor, she would just look for reasons to they were firing people and just trying to find a way to not give people their severance and stuff like that. She didn't never look me in my eyes strict. She just was, "Oh, hey, Diana, how you doing today?" Just
Wow.
looking to see if she could find a reason with a clipboard in her hand after they give you one of these sympathy punk pizza parties. And like,
Setting you up,
you know,
right?
yeah, we can't give you the raise that you're supposed to get. We can't give you no extra money, barely get some time off work, or what have you. But we give you a little punk pizza party, eat it while it's hot, and that's the best we can do. So it was one
Wow.
of those days. I was actually in a good mood, but I'm looking at this chick, and she never looked me in my face ever, never looked me in my eyes until the last second. Because I'm like, I'm fine. How are you? And she's like, oh, okay. She couldn't find a reason to write me up. I said that I am done. At that moment, I was like, I'm done. The next day, I went home, came back the next day, and every morning I just my prayer and argument to the Lord. I'm like, one of these days I'm gonna walk in here, I'm gonna quit. And it wind up being that day, I'm like, I can do no more. I can take no more. I don't even care what comes afterwards. It was a pay Friday. And to give you a perspective of my financial situation at the time, when I was done paying all my bills, I had like $96 left to my name. And so if I quit that day, which I did, I still wouldn't even have a full check coming. So
Wow.
nothing made sense. My savings was drained, my credit was jacked. Like nothing made sense other than I would rather not be here than to be at this place. And this is all that there is. Like, because something got to go. And I'm choosing me. I'm
Oh,
choosing me. So caught my supervisor coming out the bathroom. Like I said, my keys and my badge on your desk. I'm resigning. Can you badge me out? And I walked. And that day I did a live stream, which is still on the channel to this day. I'm like, I'm going full time and just doing this because I can't do anything else.
we got to look that one up. I haven't seen that particular live stream, but I'm going to look that
It's
one
out
up. I
there.
want to be in the moment, especially from you explaining where you were. And the reason why I'm asking this question, Diana, is I'm always trying to encourage other content creators. Because if you're in this for the long haul, you got to understand the ebbs and flow of content creation, the
Mhm.
learning that you have to do. Very few people, go from one to a million.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not going to happen. So you got to go from one to two, and then to three. And in that time frame, a lot of people get complacent as well in the growth. Uh, but if you don't crawl, then you got to crawl before you walk. And then walk
Yeah.
before you run. All those things that I think
Yeah.
content creators sometimes miss because they will look at you and say, I want to be just like Miss Diana. I want to have a book, and I'm writing a book right now. And you would have missed the all of the things that you learned along the way, Miss Diana, that helped you be the content creator that you are, the discipline that you have, the ability to walk away for a while and put your head down. So when I say that, for people to understand what I mean, when you are not on social media just to be posting so you can keep up your own personal algorithm going, but you say,
Hmm.
hey, I'm stepping away from that so I can concentrate on this, and then I have promotions going on based on this new product that I'm releasing.
Yeah.
And, sometimes people miss the fact that there are times where you have to put your head down and
Yeah.
create. There's times where you have to lay down and sleep and rest and take care of yourself mentally and physically as a content creator. And it's not all, how many subscribers I have and how many bookings I have and how many shows I do. Sometimes it's the smaller things that allows you to have what I call longevity in this.
Hmm.
Because most of the people you see that have done well is not people that are around for 2 years. They've been doing it for 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years of doing this. And now they're looking back with a successful video channel because they got 1,000 videos there. And I can go on and on about this, and I know this is the same thing you teach, but I wanted to be sure that we encourage the people that are watching, all of the Ecamm fam guys, like it is there. There's opportunity, but you also have to be at a place where you kind of learn the content creator world, learn a process, and then be willing to take time to grow any business because it is a business.
Yeah.
Very few businesses are profitable the first year. They actually, 3 to 5 years that you're probably not profitable in a new startup business. The content creative world, if you're trying to make it more than just a hobby, it is a business that you're going to take some losses in
Yep.
until further along down the line. And people may
Yep.
argue that fact. I'm sure there's some exceptions to the rule. There's some exceptions, but be willing to take the time to grow. Be willing to take the time to grow. Do you agree with that at all?
100%. Because the thing that is always interesting when you comparing yourself to somebody else's journey, that comparison ain't paying you nothing.
Right.
It don't pay for anything. And it definitely sure as heck ain't gonna make you feel good. But
Right.
my thing is this, it's like, yeah, you have those moments like that. How long is it gonna take before this? How long is it gonna take before that? And the one thing that is most important when paying attention to your journey is that it's your journey. It's not anybody else's. Like,
Right.
stop paying attention to somebody else's road, whether it was paved or unpaved, and where somebody was at this timeline or whatever, trying to use that as a metric of success or failure. Failure is final when you quit.
When you stop.
Yeah, failure
Yeah.
is final when you quit. It's like, would it matter? It's like, here's the reality. Whether you want to or not, if you do nothing else, you'd have to work a job someplace until you retire.
Right.
Why wouldn't I commit that same amount of time, which was my thought process in the beginning, of if it takes 20 years at the job and doing this on the side, then it still would be worth it because I come out ahead of everybody else that's not even thinking about this in this building.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, so what? Somebody got a promotion ahead of you, or so what? Somebody got the job ahead of you, or whatever, but corporate wise, because I'm like, I'm not trying to be here long term. No way. I want to do the
Right.
best I can, but I still need to make it work. So, when you look at the creative journey, it's easy to say like somebody is an overnight success, or you see somebody progressing faster than you, or whatever. And again, it's some of that you have to learn to temper your emotions. But the
Hmm.
creative journey is so much, if you are not constantly seeking and finding joy in the experience and the process, you're gonna miss the proper perspective. And
Come
that's
on
just gonna
now.
be
That's
a
good.
self it's just gonna be a self-administered poison. And
I like
that's the
that.
one. Yeah, you have to be very careful when you in the creative process, you already doing something that other people cry at night, wish they could do or figure out or just have the courage to do. But you cannot let those self-intrusive thoughts when you're in a weak state of mind become that self-administered poison that poisons everything that you've done to this point. I don't give a gosh darn how long it takes to do something. Like, I'm going to do it, and that's what I'm committing to. It's going to get
That's
done.
awesome. That's
Yeah, as
awesome.
long as
Because the
go ahead.
motive gets to be the motives gets to be negative or in a negative place. Like I want to do this so I could one up somebody. Okay, so
Mm,
you one up them and you no longer have the motive to do more work. Some people get fired up because they saw something and they want to try it, and I get that. And that gives you the motives, but only till you see somebody else do something. Somebody has to do something to motivate you. That's not the motivation you want. You want to be able to set your own goals,
mm,
figure out the business and say, hey, this is where I want to be, my short-term goals, my long-term goals, and how I'm going to work this all out so you can run in your own lane. And it is a more of a positive journey than watching other people and trying to one up someone. Now, of
yeah,
course, we teach following people. You get your 5 creators in your niche and look at what they're doing and kind of duplicate some stuff. That's different than being a content creator that's only motivated by what somebody else is doing.
yeah,
That's get down to the heart, because if you don't enjoy this, like I did radio for 15 years. Okay. And what I really enjoyed was being able to share the platform with other people. So I had interviews all the time. I was a DJ. I was supposed to play music. I'm calling people that are business owners, nonprofit owners, and anybody that was doing an event, come on. And I was sharing my time with them. So guess what I do as a content creator that I love? I love interview style content. All right, where I get a chance to share a platform with someone talking about the things that they're doing. And that's what I enjoy doing. So when I'm here interviewing somebody like Miss Diana, I enjoy it. It's really cool. And I had an opportunity to be in some rooms with some really great people just
mm,
because I was interviewing them and sharing my gifts and the heart behind it that they could feel as well, and everybody's happy. I feel good. They have their product, whatever they're doing, promoted, and everybody wins.
yeah.
But that's my lane that I choose to run in. Now, if someone says, "Well, I want to do interview style like DJ Strick, but don't have any experience, don't have the skills, and are not trying to work to learn it," you're gonna have a tough time. You know what I'm saying? I want to be
100%.
just like that. Or hey, you gotta learn.
100%.
You gotta learn the market. You gotta learn this whole journey of being a interview person, because It's not easy. This is not easy as well.
100%.
So those are things that I just really like. I appreciate you being vulnerable enough to share this information because it'll help somebody that's trying on their journey, Miss Diana, to figure it out. Because sometimes we only show, the stream, and we only show like what's in front of the camera. Hey, we're here. Like nobody knows how you got to where you were, other than folks that were around the journey. I promise you, when we did the 5-hour live streams, and I say
Yep.
streams with an S because several of us did them. I even did one.
5 hour
I know you
energy.
did
Yep.
one, and
Yep.
I just thought that was the biggest part of community. And we were all over the country doing this stuff online and having some real community when the country was really shut down and in a
Mhm.
bad place as well. We made a positive out of a negative situation.
100%.
And people are still kind of together as much as we can be. I just think it's so really, really cool. Anything else you want to share about your journey that you think could encourage or help somebody else?
I don't think it's so much so anything like with my journey specifically. Um, I think it definitely encouraged people that, have different chronic diseases or illnesses and stuff like that because you feel like everybody else is at 100% when they wake up in the morning and we start at like 60, 70, and we're supposed to perform as if we're at 100%. So, you
Right.
find what works for you. For me, that's always been on the days I don't feel great and I can't physically do, I mentally do. So I have my voice memos app, I have my notes running. So I'm planning and putting stuff together when I physically can't. And then when I'm physically well and I can execute on those things, I execute on the stuff that I planned on those other days. So you can find a way to get around those different things. But I wouldn't say so much so keep looking for a bunch of people whose journey looks like you. We do find a lot of encouragement, human to human, from people that look like us, have a similar journey as us, because we know that they get it, and that if it was possible for them, that it will be possible for you. But what I will say is that learn to fall in love with your own story, with your own journey. Stop looking at it like I only have. Stop looking at it like I can only do versus again finding the joy in your own journey because at the end of the day, you have a purposeful work that only you can do. It's the whole reason why you're here. It's only something that only you can do in the way that only you can do it. Don't matter who else is having as much success. That's not the end of where you are and what you've done so far. The best that you've done so far is not the best that you can do. It's not the best that you're capable of. So there's still more to write to that story.
That's awesome. What a way to encourage people. Enjoy your journey. And I love it. I love it. Thank you for saying that. And I want to go to our comments right now. Tech Turbo Maker, I finally started my LLC this week. Congratulations to you, sir. I put it off so
Hey,
long, like all of us did. Your one goal to break even. What a great goal. So when we talk about cameras, Miss Diana, and we talk about anytime we talk about gear, camera, and equipment, I always want to remind people that if it is a business that you're doing, even if it's a serious hobby, these things
mm,
are write-offs for you. So
yeah,
for people that say, hey, this camera costs so much, if you're doing your paperwork, your taxes right, that is a business expense that can be written off. And I'm not saying 100% written off. I don't know all of your taxes. I'm not a tax professional. You know what I'm saying? You
okay.
have to
We're
say
not
that
giving no
because
advice here. We
I'm
just
not
trying to
giving you
let
the,
yeah.
yeah. So there's different ways to think about what you need and how expensive it is. I really
Yeah.
like the fact that if people watch your show and your streams, they will be knowledgeable about the different cameras and the why what camera would work for which situation. Okay,
Hmm.
not which camera, but which camera will work for which situation, so you understand what you may really need to get for your content. And David is saying being a content creator can definitely be a lonely and challenging journey. Yes, it can. But I wouldn't change the fulfillment and happiness it gives me for anything. That is so true. And it's said as a content creator and artist. Thank you for sharing your journey, Miss Diana. He said I really needed this today. And we all need, just some time to kind of reflect on our journey and I don't know, Miss Diana, 2020. So 3 years now, I would have seen your content, been in community with you, and watched you grow over time. And I'm excited because there's a small connection there with you being in Alabama for a little while at Alabama A&M.
Yeah.
And, I'm down here in Birmingham. And I just really like the fact that the St. Louis comes out of you, that you're real, that you're knowledgeable, and the wisdom that you provide the community can help us all. All you gotta do is listen. And if you listen long enough and you hear the content that is good, and then you hear the St. Louis that'll kick you in your behind because you're not doing what I said do, that's important. I think all of that's important, and it makes you who you are. And I think that's what you were trying to say with, understanding your journey, understanding who you are and what you want to do. Like, you have created a lane for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah. I don't want to belabor the point, but I'll say this. I won't belabor the point, but I will say this. uh, Everybody's looking for that right lane, and so a lot of people find themselves switching a lot, trying to see should they do this or whatever. Again, why are you here? Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you drawn to whatever it is that you're drawn to? And even if you don't have the full answer yet, just lean into it. Just lean into it. You don't
Yeah,
have
yeah,
to know everything. You just need to know that very next right step, and what's the next logical step that I can take. And if you at least can, like the scripture says, let his word be like a lamp unto your feet. Just one step. That's all it takes. One step. It's just taking daily progressive steps, and stop focusing on like, "Oh, I'm trying to get all the way down there. How am I supposed to get up?"
right,
What's
right.
the next one right step? The issues that most people that probably watch this live or on the replay have is no different than the room that like I said, I was just teaching, and these people pay thousands and thousands of dollars to be in that room. And so they'll say, "Well, I don't know what to do." Sure, you do. Most of the time, when you are confused or you're not sure the what to do's or the how to do, sometimes can be a hang up. It's like, "Well, I don't know how to do X." That was your first clue. You know exactly what the thing is, you don't know how to do. You're one Google search away from beginning,
Right.
take that next step to figure out whatever. What if it's not right? You won't know until you try. Stop
That's
trying to
right.
analyze from afar. You can't get third party analytics on somebody else's, how well it worked for them, and then you see like, oh, like it worked for them, then it should be fine. Like, try, you won't know. You just focus on why you're here. Why are you doing this? What are you drawn to? Lean into it, and you'll uncover if you should make a change or not or whatever, but just lean into it.
Oh man, that is so good. That is so good. And James Hicks is here as well. James, thanks for coming through. Stay well, sis, is what he's saying to you.
Good to see you,
And
James.
Tech Troublemaker, he's still on it. He said he loves your videos and streams and make me want to buy cameras and lenses I don't need. I understand, brother. I completely understand. Like, I tried to stay. I got to a point, Miss Diana, that I feel like it looked. I got the look that I wanted, and it
Hmm.
wasn't just a camera anymore. Okay,
Hmm.
so then I got the sound that I wanted, and I wanted to do it my way. And once I got there, I started thinking about other stuff. To be honest with you, I got caught up watching Kevin Samuels that
Hmm.
passed a while ago, watching his video go viral where he's in the shadows and the person that he's talking to is grainy and it goes
Hmm.
viral. The video
Hmm.
sucks. Okay? The video doesn't look good at all. And the video it goes viral. And
Yeah.
I then started thinking about the content, and the importance of having great content
Hmm.
outweighs all of the stuff that you could do. Yes, if your sound important, yes. Your lighting important, yes. Your camera is important, yes. But if you have all those things and haven't concentrated on the one thing that can connect with the audience, which is
Hmm.
your content, you're missing the whole thing. And you'll be,
100%.
I gotta buy another camera because this, or I'm not connecting in this. You think it's
Yep.
equipment, and it's about your talent. It's about your skill. It's about you working on being a good communicator. And if you have all those things, and you can't communicate well to an audience. I'm not saying verbally you can't talk. I'm saying
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
not engaging with the audience. You miss it.
100%. And that's what's funny is you did exactly like will say to do, but most people miss that because I'm keeping up for the person that's just getting started today of if they're just getting in the lane of figuring out the camera stuff or asking questions, here's where you need to start at. But most of the time, people get caught in that that gear acquisition syndrome of
Right.
do I need the latest and greatest? And I will say this until the cows come home is most people miss the fact that I kept saying, you find what works for you, use it, learn it, and then just go gangbusters on it actually working for you. I said a lot of people miss the fact that Sony A6400, I've had that camera since 2019. I got the ZVE10 because it was that next level thing, but that was only like what a year later or something like that. So I held the same camera for 3 to 4 years before I just switched from what my main camera is. Are we talking about covering different content? Yes. But that's not the end all be all. But it's
Right.
always about staying like top of mind. What if you're just getting started today? What makes sense for you to invest in? Or if you're in that comparison where you're ready to pull the trigger on one thing or the other, kind of what makes sense. But a lot of people's like, man, I feel like the camera I just bought doesn't matter. You're not paying attention. Get
Right.
it, use it, learn it, and just dive into like you're wanting to buy a camera for a reason. That's why I specify my content. I'm covering video simplified for busy entrepreneurs. You have a business, you have something else of the what you're creating this content around. Now you can focus on it, learn it, and get back to the reason of why you wanted the camera to begin with. So you
Right.
did everything right, in my opinion. And even when people say, you know what, Sony actually wasn't right for me, I prefer this other brand, I'm like, fantastic. Because guess what? You did exactly like I said, find what's right for you. I'm not going to cover Panasonic or some of these other brands or whatever. At least not at this point. I don't see much interest in it for me personally or the use of value. But it's like find what works for you, get to work using it. End of story. It's like if that's what matters for a lot of people and they kind of get lost in the sauce when it comes to gear. And that's fine
Right.
because again, we're making the content and some people just like they figure this matters the most. This is what's going to make the most difference. But people forget I built my whole business and brand on like a $500 or $600 camera being the Canon M50. So, you
Right.
know, there's a lot of people miss that. I'm like, y'all missing the point. This is just what my brand is about. We make content around cameras and, simplifying video content creation. But I'm like, y'all missing the whole point. I built this brand on a $500-$600 camera, you know. So until now, ZVE1 is definitely not in that price range. But again, what's your list of non-negotiables? What makes sense for efficiency's sake, or what have you?
That's all good. I love it, and we're really helping somebody. And David is in his comments. Trust me, folks, your studio sale would never be complete, and that's true too. That's true too. Once you get into it, and you see that one person, and he's like, "How did they get it so crispy? Like, what is that?" And hey, what camera you using? What lights you
Yep.
got? I
Yeah.
know exactly what they have, and then you can get the exact same setup they have, and still not look like they do.
Look
It's
like trash in a bag, and you don't know how
exactly.
to use it.
You said something earlier, Miss Diana, and guys, if you are watching this and you have a question for, please put it in the comments, put Q colon, and I'll get to your question. But I want to talk about this next thing. You said the one right thing earlier that people will be looking for, but really the book is the one right video. Like, how did that come up in your journey to say, I want to be an author and this is the book that I'm going to write?
Man, this is such a weird question to answer because I I wanted to be an author like that. I'm not surrounded by books just for show. Like I love them. I read them. I have authors that I'll get everything that they write. And so authorship was something along the journey that I definitely wanted to achieve. I didn't expect to like I guess this be the stage that I do it in. Because you just I don't know, I guess in your imagination you feel like you should be someplace else before you do it is usually but you usually will do what you need to do before you're ready. And
Gotcha.
so when it came to the thing of writing a book, I was not interested in writing a book. I'm not even going to hold you. I was not interested. I didn't want to do it.
I
And I went
understand.
to went to that table kicking and screaming, but being a person of faith and like praying, like, what's my next step? Where am I going? What should I do? That book thing would just not leave me alone. I'm like, Lord, you
Wow.
clearly you giving the wrong instruction to the wrong person. Ain't nothing I need to write about that's that important that like it just it would not leave me alone though. And I'm like, fine, fine. I'll write the daggone book. But it's like, for what though? And
Right.
the point of getting to writing the book after I got through all of the kerfuffle of like, should I, do I need to, what's the point, all those things. It was very interesting of the making the one right video book because okay, I'm like, okay, who am I writing this for? And what should go in this book to best serve them versus just I don't know, like something that's just like you're writing it for the sake of writing it to say you got something. Because I didn't want
Right.
it to be that. And so the purpose of the One Right video book that I wrote is so that when you have an entrepreneur that's in that space of they're just getting started with YouTube, they're just getting into the whole content creation space, they're trying to find a way of how this vein of content creation makes sense to the business, how you can make videos that actually serve and are profitable for the business and in a way that's not super complicated. And so I wrote it for the person that's not trying to be a videographer, not trying to be a
Got it.
cinematographer, you're not trying to be a photographer. You're an entrepreneur trying to make videos for your business that actually work. And that's what it's about. It's about learning, create this series of one right videos for that ideal target audience, not to necessarily go viral. We're not going to be mad at that if when the videos take off or whatever, but it's making sure that it hits and it lands with the people that are the purchasers for why you're in business to begin with. And so that's what I wrote the book for.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love the fact that, of course, you always like to make it simple and that you're going after entrepreneurs. You know your niche. You know
Hmm.
who you're writing for, and then you have a whole book here. Let's take a look at this just for a second. So I did get a chance to Google this, and let me get to where I can actually see it. Um, I've moved some things around here on my computer. But as you can see, that's the video. I mean, excuse me, that is the book that you guys can go get on Amazon, right?
Yep, Amazon. You can go to Target. You can go to it's a lot of different stores that are carrying the book. Actually,
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you got a
Barnes and Noble.
distributor and
Yeah,
the whole nine.
yeah. It's in a lot of stores, a lot of online retailers. So it's Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Target, bunch of places.
So I'm just going through, and guys, this is what you'll see, and I'll use Amazon. You know, we're on Amazon all the time, but
FYI,
this is
temporarily discounted.
temporarily discounted. It's, Prime Days. Okay, listen. So I love the fact that we could just click on your name and follow you and all the stuff that you got going on, guys. This is what's it. All right, this is as a content creator what you really want. And Diana is definitely somebody that you guys can follow, and also one of the content creators that we can help out. Not help out in the sense that you're helping her, but in the sense that you can support. Go
Mhm.
buy the products. It's really, really simple. And I love the fact that you got this book going on right now. Is there
Yeah.
any other place that you feel like, hey, I can send people here and they can get more details about the book or anything like that?
Right now, it's just well, I think I mostly push people to Amazon. It's not even for the website page. You go to onerightvideo.com. It's still going to send you over to Amazon to actually make the purchase. So it's not anything with that because again, everything is content. Everything becomes a tool for the business, and the book is no different. So I don't really care of where people will get it from. Is what
Gotcha.
makes sense. And so, pro tip for anybody that's looking to do this or even list any other kind of purchasable products online or on your own website or whatever the case is, when you create that physical, tangible product for people to do it, it needs to make sense for where they naturally buy. And it needs to be zero friction for when they want to buy. And so the reason why I push people to go, if you like going to Barnes and Noble, go check out at Barnes and Noble. You like going to Target, go check out at Target. So it doesn't have to be in one specific place or another. The audiobook, when that comes out, it'll be the same way. Where do you typically do business, and making it easy for people to do business there? And so we sell a lot of books, and we sell books every week on Amazon because that's where people usually check out. So we just make it frictionless.
I love it. I love it. You're running ahead of us so that people could learn the game, and you're giving the wisdom right back. And that's
Hmm.
the way it's supposed to be. So as you're giving this wisdom back, go get it. So Dan asked this question. I want to be sure too, because we always want to support people the right way to where you get the most money. You're saying, hey, if you're comfortable going to Amazon, go to Amazon. But and on your website, you're sending them to Amazon. Is there
Yep.
any other way people could? I mean, you're not like shipping out books personally or anything like that, are
No,
you?
not unless we're doing giveaways, which we are doing a lot of those throughout. Again, pro tip. That's another way. Giveaways. It's another way to get the book in people's hands, because again, the thing is not to purchase for the books. I don't think. I think if you're trying to make money only off books, it's the same way of in the mindset of trying to make money only off AdSense on YouTube. That's the short end of the stick. So
Gotcha.
that's not the big money maker, surprisingly. But Amazon is fine for where if you want to make purchases, I'm cool with that. Go to diana.link/book. It'll get you there to wherever you prefer, or you go to onerightvideo.com.
I love it. I love it. If people, you gave the information out if they are
Mhm.
wanting to get the book. If people want to connect with you, like I knew for a while you were doing some coaching and there was maybe some one-on-ones. Are you still doing that at all?
Yep, still do that. Go to dianagladney.com. There's a button there for like a work with me tab. And it's for like 30, 60-minute sessions. Usually if it's going to be coaching on a long-term basis, like where it's like 9 sessions of us drilling it out for, 1 hour 1 hour per week. That's something that comes after like a conversation of if it's a good fit or not. And then obviously like paid speaking, stuff like that is usually another avenue.
That's what's up. So if somebody wants to call you to be a speaker on their program, they go to the same place.
dianagladney.com.
I love it. All right, guys. Diana, thank you so very much for spending this Sunday night with me here on the Stream Show. It is so important that the Ecamm family get a chance to see you and talk to you. I know they could see you on your stream, but we wanted to ask questions, and I had a chance to do that today, so I'm so happy. Continue success on all that you do, and we're waiting on the next right video from you.
It'll be coming out tomorrow.
There you go. The next right video is coming out tomorrow. So there you go, guys. During the summer, I want to say this to everybody. My schedule is all over the place. My wife is a traveling jazz flutist, and sometimes I can't make it back by Sunday. I really, really try. And even if I make it back by Sunday, there's no way I have a show planned. So there's going to be spotty times, and I should have said this before. I just went on a 2 weeks hiatus, but I have some guests lined up, and we will be doing some shows. It just may not be back-to-back weeks. So hang in there with me. I'm still here. This is still the Stream Show, and we're here to support you as a content creator. So thank you guys so very much. Thank you, Mr. Camera Junkie, for your kind words, and I will see you in a couple of weeks.
Hey, this is DJ Strick, and I would like to thank you for watching another edition of The Stream Show.